7th of April 2024. This is one of that let's talk Skidmarks. And we've got a problem in South Africa with the political system. Nobody can deny that. And the upcoming election is going to be a challenge for decent people. I'm talking now to decent people. I'm not talking to the barbarians. I'm not talking to them. They will do what they like. I'm talking to the people that cares about their future, cares about the future of their children, and that is the people that I'm talking to. I don't care what race you are. Race has got nothing to do with it. It is all about decency, honesty, principles. That is what it's about. We are sitting in a situation here where the top parties, and I'm going to call them out, the ANC, the EFF, the DA, the Freedom Front Plus, those four, there are many others, but those four are the prominent ones in the current system. Those four are all complicit in the shit that we have today. All four of them. Not one of them called on their voters to resist any one of the laws that was passed to fuck us up. Not one of them. They all went along. You know what they did to us during the pestilence. Apart from the fact that a lot of people sits with the results of that shit, a lot of people lost their lives. And all those parties were complicit. They are quick, the other ones are quick to turn around and say, yeah, but it was the top six that decided about it. Bullshit! Did any one of them stand up and say to their voters, we are not going to accept this, let's take them? No one did. They all went along. What was for me the scariest of all was the DA is supposed to be the party that contains the leadership and councillors with intelligence, the most intelligence among those parties. They look at the vengeance with which that Alan Winde went after the people of the Western Cape. I was blown away when I saw that. I couldn't believe it. He was like a demon, possessed. And today, what is going on? He is still capable of walking around the streets there. And you, the ones that has been affected, you spend your time mourning your family and friends that was lost. But he walks around. And then that shitshot Johnny, he can stand on the stage and he threatens you that if you don't vote for them, you will not have water. What cock is that? That should tell you, just that should tell you, stay away from them. I'm looking on my WhatsApp group and I see there's people now, people that I thought was level-headed, that are now proudly proclaiming they're going to vote for the DA. And I look at it and I think to myself, what the fuck is wrong with you? You want to vote for a party that want to fuck your children up, that want to get your young daughter molested in the school toilet. You want to vote and support them. What does that make you? But this is the fucking problem. People has managed to separate themselves from their actions and the consequences. So they think they're quite bright and clear when they vote for the DA and then children get fucked up in the schools. They don't take responsibility for that. Well, they don't want to take responsibility for that. Are you fucking mental? How can you do that? Then I see other people singing the praises of Gayton McKenzie. Why do they do that? Because he says some things like, he'll bring back the death penalty and he'll kill all murderers and all of that. But underlying, he's busy fucking working a plan to go into an alliance with the ANC. But you think he's the guy. He is the guy. Because he says some shit here, But you don't take into notice and consideration the fucking results of what he is saying. If he's in power, never forget it. He's a gangster. Yeah, he says he's rehabilitated. Okay, that may be true. But the fact of the matter is, look at these politicians, all of them. You sit with the Freedom Front. They try to tell you that they're there for the good people. And they support this gender confusion cuck. That is unbiblical. They're supposed to represent a portion of the population that is conservative. And what did they do with that trust? They used that trust to improve their own positions and fuck the people that voted for them. Today, the Freedom Front Plus, today, there's basically no difference between them and the DA. Fuck all difference. Just the one has got a green t-shirt and the other one's got a blue t-shirt. So that is the reality. The ANC, every day, the newspapers are full of it. Of all the lying, the cheating, the embezzlements, the theft. It is scary how they have stolen from us, the public. Now we've got a fucking problem here. Ramaphosa went to see Biden, and the main part of that fucking meeting was done in secret. Nobody there, no transcripts, fuck all evidence of what was said between the two of them. Nothing. He's supposed to be the president of South Africa representing me and you. And he does backdoor deals with Biden like a fucking gangster. Like two gangsters sitting together and talking about the turf. That is what we have. Then you take the UIM. Making big fucking noises. Same shit. Sorry, Fatima, I don't include you in this. But where is the integrity? Where is the principles? Where? Tell me where. Fucking nowhere. That is the problem. Our society has been battered and bruised into a position that we are now picking the best from the shit. We are giving support to the best of the shit. What the fuck is wrong? Look what is happening to our water system. Look. A lot of people do not realize the gravity of the situation. But there's a strange analogy. Why is Hartbeespoort Dam full of hyacinths? Because the water is polluted. The water is polluted. That feeds the hyacinths. Now, I can tell you from personal experience, when I built my koi dams 12 years ago, when I started the dams up, I had a more of a problem to get my biological, I only use biological filters. I had to get those filters to get to a position that can cope, and I've got big dams. I've got about 150,000 liters of water in circulation in 3 dams. That is huge. But it took time for the biological part of the filter system to get into balance, and the algae growth and things tend to overwhelm it. So what did I do? I put hyacinths in there, and the hyacinths flourished. And then some of my friends tells me, oh, you know, you've got a big problem with all of that and what. I said, don't worry. When I take it out, I put it into the compost heap. They don't go anywhere near water or what. I've got a pit that I fill with these things and then let it compost. So that was not a problem for me. And lo and behold, incidentally, I also placed water lettuce in there, because I was desperate to get that water clean. They did a damn good job of cleaning up the water. But then the biofilters settled and kicked in and started doing their job. And lo and behold, the hyacinths and the water lettuce died off. I could see it in front of my eyes how that plants just faded away. And I wanted to keep some of them alive. I couldn't, because the water was too clean. So they died off. Nature did its job, and then they disappeared. Now that is exactly what the fuck is going on in the Vaal River and in Hartbeespoort Dam. The hyacinths are flourishing in Hartbeespoort Dam because the water is dirty, because up the Yekse River and all of that at the sources, they're dumping fucking shit into the water. Sewage is dumped into the water, and the sewage is providing the nutrients for the plants. And what you must not forget, hyacinths specifically, hyacinths has got the ability to even remove heavy metals from the water. They are excellent filter plants. If you push that hyacinths away and you look into the water, you will see it's clear. That water is clear among the hyacinths. The water is clear. That is how effective they are. But by feeding them a constant stream of shit from the Joburg area, you ensure that they can keep on flourishing. The same is on the Vaal River. That water letters is doing so fucking well because that water is so dirty. And that is how South Africa is. That people sitting down in Cape Town in Parliament, they are the fucking hyacinths and water letters of our society. And they flourish on the shit that they create. They create the shit so that they can flourish. That is what is going on in our country. To fix the water in Hartbeespoort Dam and in the Vaal system will take a lot of money and a lot of engineers and a lot of committed people to keep the shit out of the water. Same goes for Hartbeespoort Dam. But what are they doing now? What are they doing? They are treating the symptom. So they're spraying the plants. Now those plants are going to die. What's going to happen then? They're going to sink to the bottom. And they're going to decay and rot on the bottom, fucking up all the water. This was done in the 70s and 80s in Hartbeespoort Dam. And Hartbeespoort Dam turned from being green from the hyacinths to becoming green with the algae. It was like paint. And this is what's happening down there in Parliament in Cape Town. The hyacinths and the water letters are in full fucking bloom because they are floating on a pond of shit. And they do everything they can to maintain the nutrient levels. Now, what can we do? Yeah, we can spray them, but then they're just going to sink to the bottom and rot and poison everything further. We must, as a society, must clean the water. How do we do that? By voting for people with principles. There's only two parties that I can promote with a clean conscience. And it is OHM and hashtag Hope for South Africa. I'm not going to say much about OHM. I have said what I wanted to say. They've got damn good ideas, they've got good principles, but none of their things are really executable unless there's a massive change to the Constitution. And whoever is going to support them to change the Constitution, any politician supporting them to change the Constitution is automatically signing his own death warrant. Who is going to do it? But hashtag Hope for South Africa has planned their plans on the existing system and existing environment. And here comes the most important thing of Hope for South Africa, Hope for SA. They are focused on the communities. They are promoting the idea that communities must take responsibility for their own well-being. Yes, they will get government finance, but there will be checks and balances in place to make sure there's accountability. Who is going to drive that community level governance? People from the community, that you, the community, elects for the positions. What is that? That sounds a lot to me like self-determination. And I like that. Okay, it's limited, but it's there. Then I get people that send me messages and leave comments. What about hashtag for SA's attitude towards BRICS? And I say, and I ask them, and I discuss it with them. And they say to me, listen, we are not so focused on international relationships yet. Our main focus is local and on our communities, because that is where our people are. We must first sort that out. And we, when in government, will make sure that capable people will be there to ensure that we sort the infrastructure that has collapsed out, that we sort the industrial base that has collapsed out, so that we can make sure that the communities can have jobs, that we can make sure when those factories produce, they can get their goods to the harbors. Those are the things that we are looking at this point in time. And that is what we are focused on. And I listen to that and it makes sense. And then I think, okay, I can understand that. The big problem is really in South Africa, not our relationship with BRICS or with EU or with the USA or what. But they say to me that they've got nothing against BRICS, and they will obviously get themselves informed and go for what is the best for the country. Now, with that answer, I can live with that answer, because common sense, in which that I understand and believe and see, they've got a lot of that in that party, will dictate how they connect with BRICS and so forth. Because obviously they will have responsibility towards the producers of South Africa to get for those producers the best markets. And 80% of the world population is in the global south. They are outspoken against XXX. And that I like, because they know what XXX has done to the country and is doing to the country. And then I go to them and I say, okay, some of my viewers wants to know what's your position when it comes to the Zionists, because we see that you have sent a delegation to Israel and they are supporting the Zionists. How can you do that? What about the people that are being killed in Gaza, slaughtered like animals? How does you match that with your promoted facts that you are a Christian-based party? And they said they'll come back to me on that one. I'm looking forward to the answer on that one, because the reality is this. You cannot support the slaughter of that people in Gaza and call yourself a Christian. You cannot do it. But let's see what they will come back to. So what I'm saying today is for you, the people of South Africa, the people that are listening to me, if you have good principles and you value integrity, you've got two options. You can vote for OHM or you can vote for # Hope for South Africa. Those are the two. What I like about Hope for SA is that I have seen the people that is involved in the top structure. And it's all knowledgeable people, skillful people. And I appreciate the fact that they don't walk around Bible punching. That gives me hope for South Africa, because I don't have any good feelings for political parties that sail plainly under a religious flag. I've seen too many examples of those religious parties turning into fanatics. I've seen it too many times. I don't think it will happen with Hope for SA, because the people that are involved there are bright minds and decent people that will not go down that route. Their faith, their Christian faith, is integral of their own morality. And they're not going to force that onto you. But they are strong believers in good stewardship. That means they must take responsibility for everything that comes under their control. That's their faith, dictates that. And that should give you insurance that there is hope for South Africa. So to summarize, the MK, we've got this problem with MK. I have said many times what I think the role of MK actually is. It sounds and looks like they want to take the country, but that's not the real mission there. It is my personal opinion, and I say it again, it is my personal opinion that the main drive with MK is to get the ANC out of Natal. And I have a strong suspicion they're going to declare independence in Natal. That is what I believe. But let's see where it goes. I cannot talk about those parties. The EFF, what the fuck is that? Now that lunatic comes out and says they'll go into a coalition with whoever wins, wants to take control of government after the election. They will help a party to get into control on provision. Floyd Shivambu must be the Minister of Finance. What the fuck is that? There's questions about the fact, is he really a South African? But look what he and Malema, specifically him, did at that bank in Limpopo. What they did there. Now they want to be in charge of South Africa's finances. What the fuck is that? But there's a lot of people cheering for it. And those people cheering for it has got an IQ around about room temperature. And that is what we have to take into consideration. So we, the decent people, must understand you're not going to be able to take majority control of the country. We just don't have the numbers. But we have enough to be a formidable force. And we have enough to take some regions. That is what you must focus on. But please, don't come and tell me you're going to vote for the DA because the ANC is shit. Are you fucking crazy? The DA is 100% Triple X. The ANC is split between Triple X and BRICS. But the DA is 100% Triple X. And they are the ones that showed you with the pestilence what they are going to do to you. They are showing you what they're going to do to your children, and you want to vote for them. I cannot understand that for one moment. And the same goes for the Freedom Front Plus. They're bullshitting us, they're liars, what they did to the Afrikaner Boer society with the Afrikaner Accord is unforgivable. It's unforgivable. And I see their minions coming onto my comments and telling me how great they are. Fuck. And I look at a comment like that and I think to myself, no wonder you are in the shit where you are, because you like to swim in shit. That is my opinion. There's two parties to vote for, OHM or hashtag Hope for SA. And there's another thing. The concerns you have about Hope for SA's international relations view, you must just understand one thing. If you voted them into a position of power, they must answer to you, the voter. Their principles prohibits them to ignore you. Don't forget that. But we are unfortunately so used to dealing with fucking politicians with no principles that we expect all of them are like that. Well, OHM and hashtag Hope for SA are not like that. Maybe that's a mental shock, but get used to it. But don't come with this shit, you're voting for the DA because the ANC is shit. You're voting for the Freedom Front Plus because you're Afrikaans. Fuck that. You can't do that. Because they have proven to you over 30 years that they are totally untrustworthy. They're not trustworthy. You cannot, because they all lie. That is the problem. And you must understand, we are at a dangerous time in South Africa. If things go wrong, this country can easily, overnight, turn into something that you are seeing in Haiti today. Don't forget that. Don't bluff yourself. This ANC is losing control hand over fist. And Shitshot Johnny and his moonshot pack is desperately trying to tell you, the voters, that they are the answer. You must understand, if the political party that you support is part of that pact, you and your vote has already been sold to the highest bidder. Don't forget that. OHM and hashtag Hope for SA is not part of that shitshot pact. I am actually disappointed that Inkatha is part of that pact. But that's how it is. The reality is this. For the decent people, there's only two parties. OHM, hashtag Hope for SA. And that is all I'm going to say about it. And don't come into my comments and tell me I'm wrong with this, I'm wrong with that, I'm wrong with that. Don't do it. I've given you my opinion. Go and give your opinion on your own platforms. If you don't agree with me, you don't agree with me. Don't come and tell me I'm wrong. Come and make a statement. Like I see in the comments. Jy's clueless. Jy weet nie wat gaan aan nie. Jy moet jou oë oopmaak. Jy moet meer lees. Fuck. Okay. Gemaak jou platform oop en wys my hoe. Verkondig jou groot waarheid. That is the problem that we have. We're standing at a point that this country can shatter in front of our eyes. And it will be dangerous if that happens. And this ANC can't stop it if it happens. And there in the back of your mind, do not forget, the CIA is busy in the country. They are planning a soft coup. They want regime change. And obviously the chosen regime would be the DA. They've got a problem with that white leadership. But they have a plan for that. Because they've got Musi Maimane on the shelf there to pull in. We need it. But they are planning and they're busy with that because America cannot afford to lose a grip on South Africa. Don't let that get out of your mind. And behind the curtains that we cannot see, there's a more of a fight going on between America and the ANC, jockeying for position. And I personally believe that one of the bargaining chips on that table in the hands of the Americans is either you do this and you do what we want, or we put the DA into power. That is what is going on behind the scenes. That is what I believe. But that's me. But I'm going to end this now. Decent people, you have two options. OHM, hashtag Hope for SA. One of those two, hashtag Hope for SA or OHM. That is your options. Please give me a like, and subscribe, and share the thing. Thank you for your support.